Great. Item 10, we're going to skip to item 10G. Adopt a resolution confirming special assessments for unpaid municipal code violations abatement costs at 502 San Felipe Avenue and 175 Martin Place, and authorizing the County of San Mateo to place the special assessments on the 2013-14 property tax rolls.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members. The city's code enforcement officers handle a broad range of complaints ranging from construction without permits to nuisance violations. These nuisance violations have to do with junk and debris in public spaces, inoperable vehicles, and overgrown vegetation. Typically, a complaint comes in and the code enforcement officers will initially go out and investigate to make sure that indeed the complaint is valid, and then there'll be a notice of violation placed on the property to seek voluntary compliance. And in the event that voluntary compliance is not achieved, then the code enforcement officer will issue a citation. The citation carries with it fines and penalties. In a very small number of cases, these attempts, these tools to seek correction of a code violation are unsuccessful, and it becomes necessary for the staff to actually seek lawful entry onto a property to abate or correct a violation. In a case like that, the city does incur costs for the abatement and for the staff time for the code enforcement officers, and it becomes necessary for the city to try to recover those costs, and we have a process, a special assessment process, whereby the City Council adopts a resolution. The resolution is forwarded to the County of San Mateo, and the County of San Mateo places the special assessment on the next year tax rolls, collects the funds, and then the costs are remitted to the City of San Bruno. And in this way, we recoup our costs. This past year, we have two properties that fall into this circumstance. One property is at 502 San Felipe Avenue, and the other property is at 175 Martin Place. In both cases, these properties were vacated, they needed to be secured, there was overgrown vegetation, there was junk and debris in public view. The code enforcement staff went forward, hired crews to go in and correct these violations, and costs were incurred by the city. In the case of 502 San Felipe, the costs were in total $4,825, and in the case of 175 Martin Place, the costs were $4,000. Tonight, we've prepared a resolution for your action, whereby upon adoption, this resolution would be forwarded to the County of San Mateo to place these costs on next year's tax roll for collection and remittance to the City of San Bruno. That concludes my report. I'd be happy to respond to any questions. Thank you.
Any questions for David? Irene?
Thank you. First of all, when you say we notify the property owner, do we do it, how do we do that? By certified letter or just a regular letter, or how?
We do that by both regular mail and certified mail. Okay. In both cases, as you noticed in the staff report perhaps, there have been a number of notices of violation and citations issued to these properties. And in those cases, those were sent out by certified mail. More recently, we did send final notifications to both property owners by regular mail that this item would be brought to the City Council for consideration. But in both cases, these items have been ongoing for months and even years. And during that period of time, both regular mail and certified mail has been sent out.
Okay, thank you. And then why so long? The San Felipe, was it San Felipe? No, the Martin Place, 2004. I mean, is there a reason that it took 9 years to get it done, or is it other things got done and this is the last piece of it?
In some cases, a little bit of work is done and it seems like things will be addressed, and then there's a lapse, and then the property owner doesn't maintain the property, and there's a lapse, and it falls into disrepair again. There's an accumulation of debris, the vegetation becomes overgrown. So in that case, it's just taken this length of time. In the other case, this is actually reoccurring. In the other case at 502 San Felipe, we went through a similar process last year, and yet, again, this has reoccurred. So it's a second round on 502 San Felipe.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
So there's been no contact with these property owners?
There's been contact simply by mail, but no direct contact
But,
that I'm aware of.
so there's been a response, there's been,
There's been no response.
okay,
They've
so
been
we don't know if they're
non-responsive.
even accepting,
We don't know. I
Okay.
don't know personally at this point.
do we know how the county is collecting?
Yes, the county will receive the resolution from the city.
No, I mean, they're ongoing property taxes, they're annual property
That's
taxes.
correct.
Does the county inform you that, yes, the property taxes have been paid annually?
What we understand, and we checked into this today, is that upon receiving the resolution, the county will remit those costs to the city, and the county will have the obligation, the responsibility to then go after and collect the taxes and any penalties for non-payment.
Okay, but I guess my question is ongoing property taxes of these properties.
Right.
Have they been collected by the county?
I'm not
Do we
aware
know?
of that.
So we don't know if anybody is paying anything.
I'm not aware of the circumstance in terms of the county collecting the taxes from these property owners. Our understanding, though, is that going through this process and the agreement we entered into with the county, they would pay these fees, these costs, and then they in turn would go after the property owners to obtain the charges.
Okay. So it's safe to say that without any these properties have more than likely been abandoned?
At the very least, vacated at this point in time.
Interesting.
Any other questions? Action?
I'll introduce the resolution.
Vice Mayor O'Connell,
Aye.
Councilmember Medina,
Aye.
Councilmember Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilmember Salazar.
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye.